Blog Talk Radio.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the second Galactic History show for this week. I'm your host, Chris Hales, and today we have Andrew Bartzis with us, as usual. We have Nickie Thetsy somewhere in the background, I hope. And we have the usual repertoire of incredible information for you throughout the show. I'm having a problem launching the chat window. I'm not sure if it's actually working or not. I get an error message when I log in and I'm not seeing any people actually in there. I suspect we have a technical problem with that, and I'll try and solve that as the show goes on. Andrew, how are you today?
I'm doing good today, live from Honolulu Bay in Kauai, Hawaii.
Well, after yesterday, I hope you're getting some relaxation in. We had a webinar yesterday, 3 hours with Teal Scott, Andrew, myself, and Helene Lipson. And, my head's still spinning, Andrew. How's yours?
I'm doing pretty good. That was one heck of a show. It was a non-stop, action-packed, multi-dimensional mind microwaving.
Yes, actually. Yes, to all the above.
Good morning.
Good morning, Nickie. How are you?
Fantastic. How about you?
Good. Oh. We're actually just discussing the webinar yesterday with Andrew.
Uh-huh.
And Andrew described it as a mind microwaving. Certainly was an aspect of that for me, because there was some interruptions and his note time was turned up to the max, which is always a bit of a mind microwave at my end. Did you feel that when he was doing it, Nickie, because you were there in the background at the time?
Oh, of course. Yeah, I felt everything. Even after the the radio show at night, in the evening, I could even feel it when Andrew was replaying it. I felt the attack, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, during the show, it also put you to sleep for a little while, too, didn't it?
Me personally?
Well, I was pretty tired. I wake up at 6 every morning.
Yeah. No, I was actually getting fatigued toward the end there, so it was probably affecting me that way as well. And it was a long show. It was 3 hours. Yeah. What were you going to say?
It was one of those scenarios where everyone that was listening was part of Field's oneness field and my no time field, which makes it for a very unique field of energy that hasn't been seen on this world for a very long time. And it was very prevalent with the people that were trying to disrupt the show. And the more and more and more they tried to disrupt the show, they got caught into the oneness field or the no time field. Until finally, many of them simply needed to pull out. Otherwise, they would have had way too much information for their opinions or their situations, and they wouldn't have been able to complete their tasks.
Yeah, it's very interesting, because the at one point in the show, one of the really high-level beings actually logged in.
Yep.
And did you name that being?
I did name him, and he is rather upset at me of naming him.
Well, as you said,
I won't repeat his name, but if those people want to go back and listen to the replay, they can go to sovereignmedia.net, and they can get the download from there.
Yeah. Now, the actual subject matter it centered around, actually, in the end, what the game is on this planet, what is actually taking place here, and why, at the highest level. And
many of the definitions, one needs to have fundamental foundation to understand that the game isn't anything what you think. It's much, much broader. And without some of the foundational pieces we spoke about in the first 2 hours, the last hour, it adds it all together. For those that are able to listen and able to pick apart some of the statements both Teal and I made, as well as statements both Tony and Chris made, to modify and amplify those exact sets of intonations and vibrations. Even at one point, Teal said, that's a 2,000 years of conversations in 3 hours is what that show is.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible and well worth listening to. Well worth listening to. And it's on the sovereignmedia.net webpage. If you scroll down, you'll find the seminar. It's down the page somewhat. And there are donate buttons, but this one has been made. I thought it was an interesting donation regime, Andrew. There were 3 options. There was $1.11, $11, or $111, which I thought was quite inspired. And I've already had 2 or 3 people I work with log in, and one's finished the show, and the others are still listening to it. It's a huge amount of info. It's a huge amount of thought, actually. There's a fantastic contrast between your approach and Teal's approach. And yours approach is through the Earth Akashic and through the no-time field, and Teal's approach is actually intuitive and through the Arcturian collective.
And her vibrational energy perception.
Yes,
to understand Teal, she's a vibrational artist and a vibrational intuitive. Is a source stream projecting from Arcturus here, so she's in 2 places at once. And when you begin to understand that foundation about her, her perception is the vibrational art. Her awareness is that of the earth. So she's very in tune to the energies and very much in tune to the spirituality progression of the universe.
Mm.
And numerous times our perspectives were exactly the same with different linguistics.
And the end result were commentaries from 2 very different perspectives, but aligning.
Yep.
And that was really speaking volumes to, the overall, if you like, accuracy of the information that was being presented during the seminar. It was really very interesting.
And there was that one point where we're both we were talking about how the channels had to adapt to the progression of species. Do you remember that part?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
And that's where a lot of the light worker community that's in the channel mode is at now. The individual channeler, separate of their being, has to figure out what you're channeling at the highest vibration, because the world is in so much flux and in so much change that what you say one day could be obsolete within hours.
Yes, minutes actually, the way things seem to be running at the moment.
Right.
And that, and not only in the short term, over the years, the actual complete approach of the beings that are actually doing the channeling were adapting to the conditions down here and putting out quite different material, which is the source of the decision that you were just speaking about a minute ago. And that's because the collective was actually advancing. It was changing and shifting rapidly, moving target, in other words. And I think some of the actual beings trying to channel useful information were finding themselves part of the problem rather than part of the solution and having to correct course, which I'd say has been done many times in the past 20, 30, 40 years. And that was just one little aspect of one little part of the conversation that was had. So, yeah, very, very informative piece of work, and quite an experience to be a part of. Actually, everyone was. I was actually extremely fatigued at the end of it, but it's been playing through my mind ever since.
As has mine. And at the end of the show yesterday, Nickie and Katie and Helen are here, and Larry are here, and Helen went to go swim. She's a dolphin lady, so she went to swim. And then Nickie and Katie and Larry went out to get food because I just wanted to sit there and decompress from the show, and I started listening to the replay, and I went right back into the oneness field and the notes. At that point, started doing essentially timeline surgery. There were multiple situations where they really did not want specific intonation and vibratory words to be said. And I linked it to a future part because there's going to be a series of other shows that I'm going to do where we're going to literally take it to the next level. And all those beings that are out there and disrupting, you now know what we are. We are a trap for you. That you get it. The more you listen to us, the more you try to stop us, the louder we turn the field up, and the louder that you will be forced to listen to the message. The louder you're forced to listen to the message because your karma, your choice is to stop us. And the way to stop us is to listen to us. And when you listen to us, you're put in the field perspective of confronting your shadow, why you can't change. And you're also in the no-time field. You're confronting the Earth Akashic records and the truth of the Earth, and you can no longer have your secrets even from the Earth. So one way or another, you're either going to get your pink slip out of this universe or you're going to change.
That's a very interesting aspect, that the more that those multidimensional beings listen to this information, the more of it filters through them to shards of themselves that they're attached to inside the collective. And that would create a shift in attitude and a greater loss of control. Very interesting aspect of the whole situation. Had a couple of one particular.
You ever seen the Star Wars part where the fish guy in Star Wars goes, "It's a trap"?
Yes.
It's exactly what it was. We both he and I set a trap and waited for all of those entities to pile up, and each and every one of them got cooked by the microwave in no time in oneness field. And that's why they kept pulling in and pulling out, pulling in and pulling out.
Was this the just the 6 remaining beings?
Other guys that I don't talk about. There are other ones. There's an infinitude amount of people in the collective. And if you were taking a percentage of infinity, there's a lot. There's a lot more than 15. Just the 15 are the ones we need to be concerned about. So those are the ones that can be removed from soul family, or their individual pieces parts will ascend from the original source, and the original source will be cut down, trimmed, and that all those other pieces parts can go off and be somewhere else and not be a part of that original collective. Be free.
The 17% that are invested into by the multidimensional beings that are the core of the problem. We did discuss at one stage what happens to them when the multidimensional beings actually pull out completely. Do you want to just go through that briefly?
It's the service to self-ascension part, which creates what's called the fourth option, which we talked in the show. I've been layering the conversation specific about those multidimensional beings because it's very easily understood who they are, what their purpose is. It must be very clear that they're contracted to be here, and they literally are contracted to poke the universe creator in the eye and to be a parasitic sub-creator on a universal level. On a micro and a macro level, they are ego-based beings following through with what they do, because only on the micro level can the ego function like that. So they have their own separate collective challenge the prime creator, and on the highest levels of that separate collective, they're contracted to do it. So is there free will in there? Yes. Does the collective allow the chaos to unfold into an equation of order? Yes. So is there true free will? On one perspective, yes, which is the highest macro level. On another one, no, that we literally do everything preordained. But when you are working at such the highest level and the lowest level of consciousness and subconsciousness, it really doesn't make a difference, because it is the I am present that must make the choice points to ultimately get to the sum total resolution of whatever the collective consciousness is foreseen.
The fact that they contracted at very high level, are their contracts over? Are they supposed to stop this particular exercise and pulled out? Because you actually stated at times this situation was supposed to be resolved back in 2006, 2007.
And should have been resolved in 1100 AD and 400 AD, 2000 BC, 11,000 BC. There are multiple dates where it should have been resolved. And the reason it wasn't is there were many, many powerful beings, both light, dark, and neutral, that were under the concept that the prime creator is a non-interfering being. So those beings, 1, 2, and 3 degrees of separation from the prime creator, chose not to interfere on a macro level and forced the micro level beings to use the fullness of their free will, even though the vast majority of them were not prepared in any way, shape, or form to take on a subject matter such as timeline genocide on an almost universal scale. So those beings that chose not to interfere under false concepts, and I say false concepts because they let their management that were 1 degree separation from themselves to interfere. So it's like the mafia kings that are allowing their minions to shake down the neighborhood, and the mafia king says, I'm innocent. So their hands are just as dirty even with non-interference. You know, it's like, are you going to let a child be hurt? If you see a child that's going to run around the backyard and fall off the porch, no, you're not. Are you going to let a child reach for a cup of hot water and spill it on themselves? No, you're not. Are you going to let somebody abuse a child right in front of you? No, you're not. And that's the non-interference, where they chose not to interfere in thousands of scenarios where trillions of people were murdered. Okay?
And
so their hands are bloody.
Yeah, by inaction. And at this point, where the contracts are supposed to be well and truly terminated, there is a great responsibility attached to that inaction.
Correct.
And you actually invited them yesterday to join and act, participate, get off the fence. And that was a very meaningful moment in the show. It was really quite powerful, significant, and we can only hope that your words are actually getting through to them. Have we lost you, Andrew? Nickie?
I was muted, yes.
Yeah,
I was muted. Sorry.
No problem. But in summary, a really interesting, amazing journey was had yesterday, and encourage everyone to check it out. You might want to take a break. You might want to take a few breaks during it. It's very, very intense.
And Chris, I wanted to add to that is there's this whole false concept that we have to sacrifice, certain numbers in order to save the mass. That's not so true. That is not so true. There's so many species and races that has been ruled under the false government and policy that allow people to die for the majority, okay? And these little group are the sacrificial lamb. It's not their choice.
No.
Okay, so if you look at by their own right of divinity, they have the choice to survive as well, and not for the leader of the group to choose their life and commit them to suicide for the greater good. Because there's a way to save the mass.
Well, as a number of people of my acquaintance say, the suffering must end. Then these aren't free will choices being made at all.
No, it is not.
The particularly the use of warfare to force the migration cycle of souls to occur continuously and in great numbers, so that its actual contents can be manipulated. I mean, it's done for a very specific reason, and it's now no longer relevant, no longer acceptable.
Right, and then there's also this where, there are some beings or human, for example, we'll use human as an example for now. There's some people that are born weak, okay? Do we say that, they chose to be born in weak, therefore, if we have to survive, do we let them, behind, or do we help them and take them with us? You see what I mean? So this applies to other beings out there as well, because there are some races that have been weakened, taken advantage of so many thousands of years that they're at the point where they need help. They do need our help for survival. So are there those that, with this false idea, believe that, this is their situation, that's their karma? Do we let them stay behind, or do we actually help them? You see what I mean? So this is something that we have to think about that as well.
The whole collective has to move forward as one.
That's right.
No one left behind. And that includes, if they want to participate,
Right.
that includes those high-level beings, if they want to participate, if they make that decision.
They are included. They are included. Just because they're higher beings doesn't mean that they're exempt from rules, from policies either.
No, it does not. So we've got still major parts of this process to play out. And they will play out from the timing that Andrew's indicated, which is a point in 2014 where these beings have to have made a decision. And that still stands, apparently, and the clock is ticking. So we hope they're listening to these shows. We hope they're
and even if they
influenced
make a decision, Chris, we have to sit here. Andrew and I have to sit and literally analyze how's their decision. Was it justly made? Was it contaminated by other sources? We have to sit and analyze all of those decisions, because some of their decisions is incorrect. And then we have to be able to, let's say, provide counseling therapy, shall we say, and consult with them and say, hey, this is how things are, and if you take choice A, B, C, here are the result and the outcome. Okay, so we have to provide that sort of information for them and allow them to analyze it much better, because, like I said earlier, some of these beings have been lied to, contaminated, with certain policies and programs, just as humans. So that's why educating and giving them a lot of data to analyze and allow them to make that free choice is vital, having enough sufficient data. That's why the show yesterday was brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah, well, inviting them to participate means they are actually going to be taking actions. And of course, if they've been standing off to one side, not participating for millions of years, they might jump in and start doing completely not useful things. So yeah, our best wishes to you and Andrew when that process begins, as we hope it will.
It's already begun.
Well, yeah, it's already begun.
And
this morning, I went in and had to do some clearing as well for the radio show.
Well, both of you are actually on mobiles rather than the internet, so it sounds like your internet's still being attacked too.
Yes.
There's 21 networks available within the viewing of the computers, and you can't log into any of them.
Interesting. Completely blocked. And what about when the show's not running? You can log in.
Absolutely perfect. Download at the highest speed.
Yes. Crystal clear.
The second the show ended yesterday, you could download and log in and everything. It's the same thing every show we do.
Well, I suppose they're probably doing this with a mixture of technology and people, and they know the show schedule. It's up there. So.
Oh yeah. Well, there's more than that. There's a reason they don't attack the cell phone network, because there are millions of people that are linked into Verizon or whatever cell carrier you are. If they go to interrupt us who are part of a oneness field, guess what? They interrupt everybody in the field, and they can't interrupt everybody on that psychic level. So what they're doing on the internet is psychic pulsing, and that psychic pulsing is to make it painful for me and Nickie to be on. At the same time, the Blog Talk network, whatever radio network you're on, can't handle that psychic pulsing because it's unshielded technology purposely designed that way. That's why your TV can pulsate multidimensional propaganda at you, and you'd never know, because it's meant to interact with your aura. So when both Teal and I go on a show, or Nickie and I do a show, they attack us in a different manner. So when Nickie and I are doing a show, their type of pulsing of energy they're doing isn't meant to attack us. It's meant to go after the people and their perception of us. Nickie has very specific types of energies, so they don't want her words to be heard. On a cell phone, our voices can be misunderstood in the slightest ways and modulated on a psychic level for people to misinterpret. So they've limited our ability to go to the cell phones, but people are quality enough listeners out there that want to hear what we're saying. They can pay attention. The next thing they do is they target the archives, where they literally try to change exactly the nature of what we said.
They literally try to edit the archives, do they?
As we are speaking them live, correct.
Yes. Yes, they have.
Fascinating.
They have done that.
And they're doing that for every show?
Every show in which we turn up an energy field at a volume enough that it can change the local reality.
Which is every show?
Sort of. There are some shows that we, both Nickie and I, purposely do not put the field of energy to that level, simply because we as human beings wish to have fun shows. You know, like when we did the Sacred Masculine and Feminine show on that webinar, they attacked us in the beginning, all of a sudden backed out, and both Nickie and I didn't need to have the defenses at the maximum level simply because it was a natural flow of human fun and expression.
Yeah, interesting, because I think the viewers are probably becoming aware that you guys are continuously working on staying on air. And
not only that, when we're off air, we are hammering their sites, hammering their individuals until their individuals are putting up the white flag saying, please don't do it, I have no choice. And then that's when we tell them, you've got, 6 weeks of vacation, go on vacation. Otherwise, you're going to get X-lax and be on the toilet for the next 20 years.
I love that.
Or get slammed on the wall.
Yeah, that too.
Love that. Oh, dear. Must make a movie about this one day.
Save your colon and save the world.
Take a break. Take a holiday. Interesting.
Well, and I also, Chris, wanted to thank our listeners out there who have been exceptionally supportive, you know, on Facebook or any other media, and, you know, the outpouring of I love you, I support you, thank you for doing it. All that love energy really hold a space. Okay, so we really appreciate that.
Yeah, I too, I've been getting emails, and people are showing great support for the work that we're doing. They're realizing it's got its problems, and that, you know, we're working a fairly hefty schedule of shows per week, and so it's got its pressures. But it's work that needs to be done, and you know, we're here to do this work. But we do appreciate, I appreciate all the support. So to people who are sending messages, emails, Facebooks, etc., thank you very much. We really appreciate it. But Andrew and Nickie, we've got some final aspects of the human sexuality material to go through today, so I thought we'd embark upon that first. We do have some callers, and we have an opportunity to take some calls either now or at the end of the show. Would you like to do some of the material first and then take some calls?
Let's take some calls, because we've been a little absent in trying to take calls because some of the material is so big, and I know there's lots of people out there who have some big questions.
Yeah, yes, we took a call on Tuesday, which essentially you know, went for half an hour or more. So let's see how we go this time. So we'll take a call from area code 303. Hi, could we have your name and your question, please?
Hi, this is Tracy.
Hi, Tracy.
Hi. I have a question for Andrew. Kind of a practical kind of question. It seems unpractical or illogical to me that there's only one person, who is you, who has access to the Akashic record, although I do totally support and understand that you went through the 20,000 worlds and you earned your stripes, and same with Nickie, she earned her stripes. But since we all contribute to the Akashic, that means we also all have access to the Akashic record.
Absolutely, which I said many, many, many times before. There are other beings that are just choosing not to come forward.
Right.
So when you use the word when you use the word practical, you're using a sacred geometry linguistics word. Whether you're aware of it or not, you're actually in your intonation, cadence, and vibration are intending, not from your soul, but from your voice in a 3D world, to limit the concept. I said many times, there are others that can do it. I chose to come forward at this vibratory and intonation level to make changes. There are thousands that can do what I do. The only reason that they're not there is fear, and the second reason is they don't have the coping skills to deal with beings when you start changing vibration and intonation and speaking in a source code vibration.
Perhaps you'll allow me to change my word. Will you let me change my word?
Yeah, change your word. Yeah, go ahead.
Efficient energy.
Still, another sacred geometry word. That is one of the critical things with reading the record in this manner, is literally your linguistics can betray you sentence to sentence.
Agreed. I would just like to add that I've visited what I call my home, but it could equally be the Akashic, and there are no words, actually. There's not even a language, because everything's known.
No, actually, it's all vibration and intonation, and that's all it exists as. It exists as vibration and intonation. And the home that you're talking about is called the way home. And that way home is where you learn the vibratory language. And that vibratory language is the original soul language of Earth, separate of the timeline genocide. Because, as I've said, there's 72 first species of Earth and 72 first species languages that are vibratory and intonation. All 72 of those languages have been meshed into a single Akashic language. So there are people that are working up the chain of the Akashic record and may only be on 6 or 40 or 55 or 70 of the original symbiotic languages, but they haven't reached that level where all 72 languages are a single language.
Does it make sense that when I visited what I call home, like when the dream world that you discussed, I can ask a question and I can be shown an answer, but it has no language. It is symbol, but everything's known there. There is no labeling or dividing or anything like that. So it's very, it's whole. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
That's a representation of, again, the waypoint, the way home, and the way home means that the multidimensional you is on the wheel of divinity and is attempting to complete the wheel of divinity that is for Earth Akashic. That means you are connected to the Akashic records of other worlds, and where your multidimensional soul is at is, I must choose to learn one and not both, when in fact you should be choosing to learn both. And that's this 3D world influencing the I am present self, which is ultimately filtering up to your highest self, the fear of limitation, which is ultimately about what this world is processing fear and limitation so that the I am self can be even the highest self at the same time, and that there is an a la carte of choices and not the limitations of choices. So what may be working for you, the next level is before you go to sleep and you enter these dream worlds, you say, I am the mighty I am presence of all of myself, past, present, and future, and now engage in all of the records so my highest soul may process all levels of this new intonation and language instead of trying to process one language and then the next day process another and then to cross-correlate and pollinate the languages.
That makes total sense. Because that makes sense because when I am there, which it's not really a place, and there's no time there either, so this experience is very interesting. And you're right, it's easier to do that. I'll have to re-listen to the broadcast to slow down what you said and ponder, but that makes total sense. It's not linear. I'm trying to figure out linear here on this planet, which is very obviously limiting and blah, blah, blah. Everybody knows that.
That's part of the equation that so many consciousness explorers simply misunderstand, that it is the I am self in time, in this place of limitation, that must make the choices to process. The actual higher self can't make the choices. Only you, the present self, can.
Agreed.
So
that's
even
awesome.
the higher
Thank
self
you
is
so
limited
much.
because of being in this world.
That's great.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Tracy. Thank you very much for your question. We'll pop you back on hold.
You're welcome.
Yep.
Can I add something for Tracy? Don't blame yourself so much. In our society, okay, we are trained to think linearly in the academia. So as a children, that's how we are trained. So to deprogram that, what you can do is start listening to a lot of Mozart.
Yeah.
Musical piece.
Mozart.
Okay, and that will
That's
help.
my favorite.
Even Beethoven is not bad. Okay, try Beethoven and Mozart, and it will help you think in non-linear fashion patterns. So it'll start to deprogram you. So listen to that 24/7, and eventually will progress much faster rate.
And something else that I do, is I have a mixed CD of Mozart music with whale sounds and dolphin sounds blended into 432 hertz. And you can get those on the internet, on YouTube, or you can literally make your own. They're not difficult. You can make your own tracks where it goes from 432 Mozart to 6 minutes of whale music, followed up by more 432 hertz Mozart. And that is one of the most effective ways to deprogram yourself and allow yourself to return to the intonation and vibratory language, because it's reprogramming your throat chakra and your heart chakra in perception. And then when you reprogram part of your perception, your throat chakra can project perception. So once you're projecting a perception, that's how you're able to function with the Akashic records at the highest vibratory rate. Because just perceiving the Akashic records is one part. You actually have to be able to perceive and project them at the exact same time to be a part of that no-time field and continuous stream of energy. And if you are not part of that continuous stream of energy, you're in the two limiting factors of time.
And this will affect you on the cellular level. That's where the microchips are. So affects you on the cellular level, and also it helps to eat high vibrational food, and that will be, I mean, everything you can imagine. Incorporate all the elements in the emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual aspect, and you will deprogram at much a faster rate.
Excellent information. Thank you very much, guys. Tracy, we'll talk to you next time.
I got one more thing for people. People out there that are starting to get this concept of how sacred geometry and linguistic limits us. Pick up a thesaurus, or get a little pocket thesaurus that you keep in, or get one on your cell phone, and every day look up 6 new words and try to start using them, or try to choose one word a day and see how it can be misperceived. Like the word herd. What am I saying? H-E-A-R-D or H-E-R-D? Pray. What am I saying? P-R-A-Y or P-R-E-Y? All of those words are literally designed to be within the vibratory sentence structure to ultimately limit your expression in such a way that it backfires against your soul. And there are hundreds of examples. I'm saying the word to. Which one am I saying? T-O-O, T-O, or T-W-O?
Yes, in fact, there are so many words that have 3, 4 meanings.
Yep.
That is supposed to, in and of itself, be one of our limitations. What you're saying.
Particularly in English, there's a lot of limitations.
Well, the fact that English words are spelled S-P-E-L-L-E-D points you at the nature of the English language. It's very, very difficult. Although a lot of people actually misspell that word. They spell it S-P-E-L-T, which is actually a species of wheat, and not what they think it is. So, there's just those variations as well as the direct ones.
Yes, linguistic and tonation have a huge effect on us, because a lot of meanings come with emotions that attach to it for thousands of years, where words have been created for that specific energy and for its limitations and serve that purpose. If you look at Laotian language, when we say the word thank you, if you analyze that, what does it mean? There's a lot of limitations. There's not much meaning to that. But if you look at Laotian, when you say thank you, you say khop jai. It means I thank you from the frame of my heart, like a picture frame of my heart. That khop jai means I thank you from the frame of my heart.
Interesting.
Or here in Hawaii, when they say hello, aloha, it's I thank you, I love you, goodbye.
Yeah, lots of, in fact, the whole Chinese writing system has multiple levels of meaning in a lot of characters. Very complex.
And then you look at the culture that speak these languages, okay? In Asian culture, with the Laotian population, they're much more spiritual people because the language goes with it. You look at the Hispanic, same thing. They're much more spiritual people versus you look at, U.S.
English.
And other Western countries. English, yes.
Now, the issue with music, too, my father was a musician who was trained mainly during the Second World War when he was young by a musician who was trained before the First World War. And the reason I'm very aware of the 432, 440 hertz A, because it's the note A in the scale, tuning, was that I vividly remember my dad several times describing how his teacher hated 440 hertz A and made him play at 432 whenever they had a lesson, and commented to my father that he had really did not enjoy playing in orchestras that were tuned to 440, and the change from 440 to 432 was instituted in Germany before the Second World War as part of the Nazi shall we say, that mind control effort to actually shift the frequencies of entire symphony orchestras from a positive experience to a manipulative experience. And the fact that Andrew's mentioning detuned or retuned Mozart is actually a pointer to the significance of that particular thing. The actual frequencies involved have a physical effect on us, and we need to pay attention to that. Everybody's muted.
Yeah, absolutely, we were muted. Not only can 432 help you reprogram your linguistical patterns. What it can do also is program your dream world for 432. What 440 does, it grows and grows, and then reaches a point where it literally falls off and dies. If you look at it on the scale of the vibration, it reaches a point and then the flower dies, where 432 is constantly expanding. Like the Fibonacci sequence, it's a continuous reproduction of the vibration and intonation, where 440 actually has a die-off point. And then when you put that into a symphony-based orchestra, the die-off points are literally blended into the harmonies, and you never realize you're not getting the full vibration of the music, and you're then being tuned to a limited vibration, which you must recreate in your linguistics. Now, Nickie, how many languages do you speak?
In the 3D, I would say about 5.
5 languages. And those 5 languages you learned over a period of time in your life. And each time you were learning it, you were growing in vibration as a human and as a higher vibratory being. And you've learned those languages, and you've applied much of your knowledge and wisdom to make sure that all of the languages you speak are as accurate from your soul expression as possible. And there's sometimes, like we hear your English, that you're just a little off. But it's not off. It's accurate. And then when you speak multiple languages, it's hard to get some of the inflections in. So listening to things in 432 while you sleep, while you're awake in the background, can help those patterns that have been forced into accepting the other vibratory patterns. And it can literally allow you, through the law of entrainment, to return to the full vibratory expression, even with a sacred geometry limited language.
And
yeah, I find that of all the languages that I have learned, English is by far the hardest. And then I even create my own words. I refuse to correct some of my grammar at times because I don't feel like it's correct.
And one
English is a horrible language.
Everybody says that, and it's very, very interesting that non-English speakers find it so difficult to get their heads around all of the variations.
Well, not only that, their concept of time, space is just off. It threw me off completely. In Laotian, you describe the time and space.
There's no word to just like a one word to describe it. You literally have to explain it in details, and that's the word. Yeah, we don't, English is really upside down for me. I have the hardest time with it. Even, I have 3 degrees, master degree. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. It's still, and plus when you do metaphysics, that's even worse. Throw that out.
Look, at the symphony orchestra level too, I need to just inject this final thought. Part of the thing about symphony orchestras in particular is that they generate harmonics above and below our physical ability to hear them in huge volume. When you actually are listening to a symphony orchestra, you are getting a spectrum way beyond what we can perceive. And I can now understand, Andrew having pointed out that the 440 hertz just doesn't, I suspect what it wouldn't do is give us that full range of harmonic expression from the symphony orchestra.
Yeah, the subtle harmonics that change the vibration of your soul.
And they're beyond
Mozart and Bach were multidimensional beings whose purpose here was to create music that would jump generations, because they understood on a multidimensional level the future was vibration and intonation, separate of whatever our culture was creating. And if that the vibration and intonation was kept to the earth vibration, that we could succeed over any domination controls.
You've said before that music is one of the keys to actually freeing us, quite literally. Yep. And it's one of the reasons why the music industry is so heavily controlled at the same time.
Absolutely.
And we have
one musician, one song can change the world. Look at all the one-hit wonders that we've had in 40 years of modern music that have healed people from broken hearts or helped people get out of depression and anger. Even if it's a hard rock metal song, for that moment that person listens to it, they connect to that hard rock vibration intonation and allow that anger inside to have the steam valve release, which prevents them from going out and doing a criminal act.
We have no way of measuring the positive effect that music is having. When I say we have no way of measuring the massive degree to which it enhances people's lives.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, you want to talk about control. When the school, they have a budget cut, okay, the government, the first thing they cut out on the school program for children is music and art.
Yes, they do.
Because, that's priority where they have control over you. Okay, they don't, they want to support English and everything else doesn't matter, and they force us to learn all this mathematical mythology that makes no absolute sense, besides the fact that it trains your mind and the way circuiting of your brain, which is in linear form. Okay, and that's why that color is an example.
Symptoms of the control system all over the place. Look, let's take another call. Yeah. Let's take another call. We'll keep this running. We have a username of Purgatoriome. Good morning. Could we have your name and your question, please?
Oh, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
My name is Paul, and I'm just, I had a kind of general question, and this is actually stemming from my study into Theosophy. It comes from the Secret Doctrine, and it was discussing how Lucifer is considered a light worker that provided higher knowledge, and I just wanted to know Andrew's knowledge in regard to who this guy is and what he actually did here.
Okay, well, I want to ask you a question. If you study Theosophy, what is your perception? And try to give me 2 sentences of what you think a light worker, knowledge worker is. And it's a very specific why I'm asking this question.
Yeah.
When you ask a source like me questions, you have to be understanding that not only have I read you and your entire past, present, and future lives, I'm looking at the very nature of the question, because the very nature of the answer may be in a situation where not only you, but the rest of the audience can be easily misunderstood. So my vibratory pattern in linguistics must be absolutely exact in the response.
Okay, so you need to understand the perspective of that I'm coming from.
Correct.
My understanding, I just
what
mean...
is the nature? Hold on. You
I
called
just
the
mean...
show. What was the motivation to dial in and ask that question?
Oh, for me personally, it's just a kind of clarification out of curiosity because of my perspective of what I've studied.
You've answered exactly what I need to know. It's a curiosity. And honestly, that's the biggest mistake about theosophy. There are curious people that are looking into documents that were purposely created to manipulate people over a very long period of time while they were going through incarnational or reincarnational cycles and not having full life reviews. Our theosophy, our religion, has been manipulated at such a level where each lifetime you could pick up little pieces of the propaganda, and the next lifetime you're born, it's truth to you. Lucifer was not even a real being. Okay? He was a created being from the set of documents, from ground one. And when he was a created being from falseness, we gave him power by our false belief structures.
And this is the clarification.
Vast majority of the characters in the Bible. As the vast majority, we manifested them, we created them, and we can uncreate them once there's truth.
I thank you for the clarification. That is the general understanding in these teachings, is that they are implants, as you say, a multidimensional implant.
Yep. And why I asked that question is to make sure that the rest of the audience, because you're very educated in your soul level, so it was important the way you asked and the way I responded is a very complete understanding that, yes, they were created, and we continue to empower them because there's tens of thousands and millions of people that are in that belief structure. The next thing is there are light beings that are created exactly the same way. Fake light beings. I call them false light, false dark beings. It's deception on the most subtle, devious ways, with beings that are leapfrogging through time, anticipating migration patterns, pulling people out of migration patterns so that when they come back in, they're forced into a layer of propaganda. And then once they die, they don't have a full life review and are forced back in, and they have 2 lives of repeating lies, and those lies become belief structures for that soul incarnating family.
Yes, it's a butterfly effect for the purpose of domination and control.
Absolutely.
Yep, thank you. That's why I wanted to ask that. And I was trying to think of a preface to that, but it was simply easier to go into it.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for the question. I really appreciate a question like that. The only trick of it is how I respond.
Indeed.
Well, it adds to clarification.
My language can be easier. Yeah. Go ahead.
It adds to clarification for listeners, for myself as well, to understand the level, how deep it goes, and to begin to see the butterfly effect of the timeline manipulations.
There's an article published in the last few days, last week or so, titled "Why I Quit Being a Light Worker" or something similar to that. And it's essentially someone who has, through their experiences, worked out that we're dealing with not only a false dark but a false light, and is saying, I'm out of it. I'm going to separate myself from that particular aspect of my experience, because it's not real and it's part of the deception. Exactly what you're saying, Paul and Andrew.
Yeah, I got one more thing to add. The power of myth. That is the rule they're using here. Let's go back and look at Greek philosophy, Greek theosophy, where you have Zeus, Athena, and all them. Those religions died. But there are people that are producing books now that are trying to regenerate that religion, and they're using the power of myth to recreate religion. It's the same thing that was done through the biblical structure. except what they did with the Bible was multidimensional. They reached back to the first to 30th generation of immigration patterns to a brand new universe, which is this one, and used the original concept of light and dark beings as myths, because when you immigrate to this universe, you get a basic concept of what's happened since the beginning, because you become part of a planetary sentience and a collective that says this is what's gone on since the beginning of the universe. Even though the physical I am presence, you may not fully understand it, the highest soul understands the theme. And within that theme are myths, and within those myths are very powerful concepts that don't have words. They just express as the battle between light and darkness. And that is what the biblical multidimensional writers used as propaganda. On the other side, there are very powerful beings of true light and true darkness that did not want those things to be hijacked, and they also invested into the biblical structure and the biblical writers and the saints, and that to get a chance that true light and true darkness can have an expression, but it was hijacked so perfectly that no matter what they just made it worse and worse and worse. And that's why they're doing in the name of Jesus.
It's a hierarchical structural trap to put you into this confusing, never-ending loop of light and dark.
Yep. That's true.
Excellent, Paul. Thanks for that contribution. That was really, really worth having. We appreciate the call.
Yes, thank you. Clarification is very important at this point in time.
Certainly is. I'll pop you back
Certainly
on.
is.
I'll pop you back on hold, and hope you join us again soon. Okay, another username, Peter Clayson. Peter Clayson.
Hi, guys.
Good morning. How are you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Very good signal, actually.
Oh, good. Hi, guys.
How you doing?
I'm fine, Andrew. Thank you. How are you?
Doing good today.
And hi, Nickie.
Hi, Peter. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know where to start really, but I have spoken with you, Andrew, I think 4 times on the radio. Starting the first time I spoke with you was May 30th, and it was on Revolution Radio. You gave a reading and advice in healing, cleaning, prayer, etc., and the revocation of the contracts and all that stuff. Then I spoke with you the second time. It was the 18th of July in Helene's Lipton's show, and I was amazed that you actually remembered me from your first reading. You must have read I don't know how many, but very many, but you remembered. And that reading blew my mind really, because you told me that I had entities protecting me and that I had a role to fulfill here, etc. And the third time I spoke to you was 19th of July, and that was about free will and system of domination and control. And the fourth time was August 7th, and that was when Nickie was also there, and I was asking about the experience of divine feminine energy. And so this has unfolded. I told you then 7th of August that I met this amazing lady that I connected with. And so this has been going on. In the meantime, the 14th of August, I had a reading by Nickie, which was completely amazing also, and healing. So, but I'm very curious to the role of this person that I have met in my mission, so to speak. It's a bit egoistic question, I understand, but if you want to answer it, it would be nice.
I understand why you're asking the question. And this being is here to help you understand how to reach a higher vibration, to maintain that vibration, so that each of you can set the bar for each other So when you match vibrations, you can agree that we must go up another vibration and up the ladder and up the ladder. So this being is a companion along the way of vibratory change, and that companionship will grow tighter and tighter and stronger and more love-bound the higher vibration that you go. So that companionship will grow into a multidimensional higher vibration, expression of freedom, love, free will, and all of those things that the collective consciousness is trying to help us understand through its reverse engineering of the disunity consciousness. And you said it's a little bit of an egoic question, but it's a good ego question, because there are bad ego questions and good ego questions and neutral ego questions. And I call it a good ego questions because, as you just said, you've had amazing experiences and profound changes in your life. And when you are fully aware of those profound changes, the ego is changed too. So to ask that question, well, what is she here to help you do? Raise your vibration. Continue to raise your vibration. If one of the two of you falls back, the other stops and says, raise your vibration, and shares their inner wisdom, their heart, their love, their general space for you, so that you don't fall back into being an asleep person.
Okay.
Very interesting. Yeah.
And definitely both of you chose to do this together because you can, individual person can choose to increase your higher vibration. You can work on yourself to reach that goal, but you chose to have someone to help you working as a team to reach that high vibration. So it's a wonderful that you have a team to help you with that and have fun enjoying each other's presence. And you need that feminine higher frequency energy to help you activate that part of within inside you as well. But, knowing all of this, on the 3D level, there are behavioral social questions that you still have to, go along with. That's just part of the human nature. And it allows the process to go much faster. So instead of looking into relationship, okay, where there are people that can connect on the spiritual level, but on the 3D they can't get along, then it's going to cause a slow down process for that activation to take place. Okay, if you want to increase that vibration higher at a faster rate, when you can get along, okay, resolve things on the 3D level, and also be on the same level on the spiritual aspect, then it's much faster.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, Peter.
Yeah.
Very interesting
Thank you.
question.
Thank you, guys.
Bye for now.
Yeah, bye.
Andrew and Nickie, it's just past the hour. Probably time for a short break.
Yeah, that sounds good. Just take a quick break and let everybody refill their coffee cups or their juice or whatever it is that they're drinking.
Break.
And
we're back. That was a short, pleasant break. Just noted that my choice of intro music for this show was actually Beethoven.
Irony.
Yeah, well, it's one that actually it's a piece that actually was recommended by Bashar. It's I think it's Seventh Symphony, Second Movement. It's quite a famous little segment, and it's particularly good for re-entraining thought waves in the brain, apparently. And I've always found it particularly just nice to listen to, but I found it very interesting that Bashar identified it as being a good example of music that was positive for one's psyche.
Well, all music is positive for one's psyche when it's done in the proper vibratory hertz. And there's other things.
Individual too.
Right.
I think that it also depends on individual needs and state level of their psychic level where they're at. So sometimes, this Mozart piece might not work, but the Beethoven piece might work. So it really depends also where you are at, and it's not permanent. Okay, you can listen to one piece, and then let's say you resolve a lot of stuff, you increase your vibration, and a lot of activation. Next month, you need another piece.
Yeah, I think you have to follow.
Also, Bach and Schubert and a lot of the other masters that came out during those times are just as important just as important.
Yeah, I've found that with
Any of the
classical music.
Baroque.
Yeah, I've found that with classical music that you just need to follow how you're feeling. Sometimes you don't feel like Beethoven, so you should listen to Bach, etc.
Or other situations you wanted to listen to rock and roll. For example, Billy Joel did, the Piano Man song. Well, look at that basic thing. It's piano and a singer. It's a lounge singer talking about his wife in the Navy getting out, and that's just as important of music. Or you can go further into even some of the rap music where they're, I'm not a big fan of it, but I also understand why it's there. Even if it's been in domination and control, they're telling you how they live their life and how bad it is that they enjoy it. So there's vibratory intonation even within that music, no matter what it's tuned to. Let's look at country music. No matter what the subject matter is, it's a guitar, it's a drum. That music can be used in such a positive way. Just recently, a very, very good friend of mine and another radio host named Kevin Smith tragically died at a very young age, right at the point where he was about to have his first tour with a band, and we're going to do very positive, inspiring music at a rock to hard rock level in 432 in such a way that it was going to challenge the music industry on its very foundational, creative, vibratory levels. And I will miss him very much. He was a radio host on the Kevin Smith Show, and he was the competition to Coast AM with broadcasts in 117 countries. That's how popular this guy was. And he was making a transition from radio to music. That was his dream that he created for himself. And in that dream, he realized that music can change the world.
So was his death a natural one, Andrew?
He died of a pulmonary embolism.
Really?
Oh, really? 56 years old.
Wonder how many stories like that we could find if we went looking for them.
They're everywhere.
Yeah. Well, music can change the world is a saying that's in our culture for a very good reason. So, Andrew, would you like to embark on some more of the user instruction manual for the human body in the second part of the show?
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. While we have Nickie take over, we wanted to talk about the PMS as well as birth control. In the last conversation, I was able to speak on birth control, and Nickie was in her part, especially on the birth control for women.
Nickie, are you still with us?
I'm here. I was on mute. But I was wondering, do we have any more questions out there? Because
Look,
I know so many shows we've done that we weren't able to take calls.
Look,
I would like to...
There are about another 5 questions. What I was going to suggest is if we work on the a bit more of this material for 15, 20 minutes, and then we'll take calls for the rest of the show.
Okay.
So the question, Nickie, was birth control, your views on birth control for women and what it's actually doing.
The natural birth control is when a woman is tuning into her physical body, her emotion, her mental state, her physical, and also her spiritual state. When you are tuned in, you literally can control your cycle itself. Okay? There have been many studies done that when you put college girls together, everyone will have the same cycle. So there is this vibration that you are in each other's field that will kind of, shall we say, coordinate, like herding the cows, together. Okay, all these women will start having periods at the same time. So imagine living with girls under one roof, that have PMS together. But that is the natural way, okay, to control, is to go within your body And many centuries, okay, we have been able to do that. If you go to third world countries, they were able to do that. But now what the technology has been where you do implants, under your skin. I think it's called Norplan. There's all the methods, pills. It's taking away a woman's power. Okay, when you do that, a lot of women think it is self-empowering to have the ability to choose. That's what they're trying to tell you, that you have a power to choose to control your pregnancy, but it's not. It's actually taking it away by giving the easy button of a pill or whatever the shots they give you.
So, Nickie, are you talking about a woman having an awareness of her cycle or actually being able to control her cycle?
Both. When you are aware, you can control your cycle. You can control in terms of you want to be pregnant or not. You have that abilities. Because when you say, I don't want to be pregnant, and you a lot of times you'll see women, they're like, oh, they get all stressed out. That's not going within. Okay? That's not. Going within is, I'm talking about deep meditative level, being connected to your cervix, to your ovaries, and telling them, hey, don't want to get pregnant here. Hold the eggs, you know what I mean? Change the cycle, and it won't be changed. It will be changed. Plus, not to mention all the food that we're eating, all that GMO stuff, potato chips, not to mention. It's fake oil. As a woman, you need to have some level of body fat in order to regulate your hormones. Okay? Without body fat, you don't regulate, menstruate well. So you do need to have some body fat. And then by eating potato chips, that's not real fat. That's actually carcinogenic fat.
Indeed. So, Nickie, the level of control can you get? Can you actually literally stop the production of the eggs or the lodging of the eggs in the uterus? You can actually control those things?
You can. Yes, you can. Many people can meditate and go within. Okay, when you meditate, that's going within. And they can self-heal themselves. But you have to be very tuned in with the physical body on the cellular level. Okay, the Tibetan Buddhist monk, they would go up to the Himalayas, bundle up without thick clothes or anything. They just wear their regular, normal robe. And they can lower their heart rate to a point where they're like at near-death state, and then survive the cold. That's how deep one can go in as a human being. So as a woman, you're no different. When you can meditate and go within, you literally get in touch with your ovary, have communication with them, and tell them, hey, you need to slow down your ovulation. You need to speed up your ovulation. You can control your cycles.
So the practice of that, is that something you'd have to practice daily if you were going that path?
Yes. Yes. Especially, okay, I want to take that back. To be exact, it depends on your life situation. If you are in a partnership, such as marriage, then you have to do it every day because it also, you have to figure out what is your sexual schedule. You know what I mean? Are you the type that just have it whenever, wherever? Then yes, you need to do more on a regular basis, to regulate that. And you have to really be on the clock in terms of when it is coming. I've known some women that, oh my goodness, they are on the clock when their cycle's coming. They even can tell you when they're going to give birth when they got pregnant. Much more accurate than the doctor can give.
Well, if you're going within and really connecting, you really should know because it would be a dramatic shift if you're really connected. It would be like being slapped in the face because you'd just know it.
Yes. So literally, when a man ejaculate within her inside her womb, she can literally feel the sperm where it was going, and identify that, connect with that sperm, almost like having a psychic connection with that sperm, and identify and say, and like I said, communicate with it and say, do I want you or do I not want you?
Well, that's something that
literally
something that you guys have indicated before, that there's an ability for them, for the male and the female to actually literally choose the soul that's coming in. You know,
yes.
and I guess that drills down to actually choosing the sperm, because the soul's coming in.
Sperm as well.
Yeah, the soul's coming in. That's the spiritual, and the sperm is the physical. And
yes.
if you've got that level of communication happening, then all aspects of that child or that new child you're bringing in could be something that you'll have input into.
That's
which
right.
is an amazing
and another thing
prospect.
is, for those women who are planning on having babies, I highly recommend do karmic healing on yourself, your husband, and that will help clear out a lot of that the eggs that you're carrying. And when you have unification of sperm and eggs, you can literally clear a lot of that karma out when you do it for yourself, because that comes within you and comes from within your partner. Okay, so when they have that unification, there is no karma that comes out. Typically, people, the karma is carried on from generation and from generation. So get your karmic clearing before having children, so they'll have a better life.
So, I mean, aside from you're pointing to a degree of control that we didn't know we had, which is, that's part of the user manual we didn't get, but also to the fact that the birth control technology that's being used really separates you from those abilities even further.
Yes.
Lack of knowledge about them
Yes.
is one level, but technology in there interfering takes it to a higher level.
Yeah, the society have really hijacked our thought and what it means to be self-empowered. Like I said, to go out there and choose, whether to wear a bra or not, or, as a woman, you can go have sex with any man you want. And that's the purpose of having condoms. It's not for sexual protection, all that STD stuff. Yeah, it's true, it's out there. But a lot of times, if you are adrenal stressed out, okay, you're going to get any diseases, okay? But when your adrenal and your thyroid are in top shape, you literally can heal yourself. The body has this amazing self-healing abilities where you get rid of any STD. Okay, it's when we're stressed out, that's why we are incapable of self-healing. So condom was actually created so that a woman can go have this liberation of sexual experiences. And they go and just have sex and be done. I'm not quite sure how much of high-quality sexual experiences one can achieve from that besides, it's a one-night stand or, it was a cheap sex. You see what I mean? Because the whole purpose of having sex with a man is that you will literally exchange each other's energy when you do that. You will exchange each other's energy. You're allowing this man to enter your womb, okay, to your stargate. That sensitive area as a woman. You see what I mean? It's been tempered with.
Yeah, well, it
if
has.
You want to put that that way.
Yeah, I mean, even the use of a condom actually separates the male and the female in that energy exchange, because it's like an insulator, an electrical insulator. It must have an effect on the energetic exchange.
It does on a certain level, but still, if he is already injecting his penis inside her womb, there's already a connection. There's already a connection. Okay, but yes, skin to skin is important. That is true. But still, we're talking about thin rubber. It's not like this is a, 1 inch thick.
Yeah, it's not a
covered
huge
by some kind of metal.
No.
Exactly. Okay, it's not 100% connection. There's still a connection. Okay, I would say maybe 90%.
Well, a connection.
Some men who are very in touch with their penis, they will feel everything because because yes, electric will still transfer through that rubber because it's very thin, the condom.
Well, energetically,
and
there's a transfer. There can be transfers going on, many other parts of the body structures, particularly if you're practicing, if you have an energetic aspect to your sexual practice, there will definitely be energy flows all over the place that will still be taking place. But, there's still that very intimate connection which would get interfered with somewhat by the presence of the condom. But as you say, it's not armor plated.
Right. And I must admit though that even though yes we are adrenal stressed out and all of that, and yes the condom will be suffice. It serves its purpose for that sort of STD protection. Okay, but at the same time, looking at on the spiritual level, okay, and I'm talking about energetically, metaphysic level, then yes, you get only perhaps 90% of transfer of electrical contact, okay, from the penis into the womb. But and another thing is that because of the liberation of for a woman to go and have sex, it also takes away having a building relationship foundation. Okay, being committed to someone, but you literally can spend time and just do deep inner connection with that person. Because with condom, now every cute guy you walk by, you want to have sex with him. And that same goes for the guy too, because now the guys know that sex is open. It's not like I have to go and ask her mother, her father for permission, like back in the old days.
It's lifting the sexual relationship between men and women to a very superficial level for a lot of the time. I mean, there are times when people do form connections and are actually developing a relationship, and the sexual side is part of that. But as the term Andrew's used is recreational sex, if you're aware that it's just recreational and that's your choice at the time, then okay, you can make that choice. But you need to be very aware that it's not going to actually enable the deeper connection that you're looking for, that we're all looking for.
No, and a lot of times, Chris, the recreational sex, okay, people go and some people are having like an addiction that has to do within them. It's not about sex. If a guy does not get enough love through his mother, okay, and he would continuously go out there and have sex with every woman he sees. That's recreational.
Yeah, because he's not looking.
Woman every day.
He's not learned to look. Not learned to look for love, because he's not learned that it's available.
Right, but if he had gone through some kind of psychic healing, okay, that could help him see his true nature and the areas that he needs to work on for his healing, then that will be resolved. Then he wouldn't need to go out and continue to have sex. And by providing condom, it promotes that. It promotes that you don't need to go look within yourself for your own healing and to reach enlightenment. You see what I mean? Or growth, spiritual growth in any shape or form. So they having the condom promotes that, recreational sex.
Well, because
it allows you not to be healed.
Because the sensuality aspect has been removed, I think it's especially become really superficial. And it devalues the sexual aspect of a deep relationship because of that, the over focusing on just the sexual act itself, making it a social event rather than a deeply personal event. And it's a case of we're being tricked into making unconscious choices instead of being aware of the whole spectrum of the situation and making conscious choices. It's just another part of domination and control by division. They're just dividing us off from the information that we need to really be human.
Yes. And sex.
I got something to add. Let's look at the nature of what the condom is. It's made out of latex. Where does latex come from? Anyone know?
Well, originally
Rubber?
the rubber plant.
Rubber tree?
The yucca plant. It's called the yucca plant.
Mm-hmm.
The yucca plant was a very sacred medicine used by those in South America. Right? It was a food, it was medicine, and it was magic. All right? Clothing was made out of it. All sorts of things were made out of it. When the tire industry came around and found it, it made rubber. They used to make these, Mayan would make these special rubber balls. Well, it was a magic piece, which is they could put energy in. It makes it the perfect membrane for controlling the energy on the tip of the penis or inside the vagina. Now, these things are created in laboratories and then synthesized on the most basic cellular level, so they can interfere with the vibratory exchange of energy between the clitoris, the vagina, and the penis. So quite literally, it is a membrane shield that is meant to scatter the energies in such a way that you don't even aware of how basic it's affecting you on those foundational levels of intercourse.
It's interesting, Andrew, that
And this goes to your shoe. If you're doing metaphysics, you don't want to wear a rubber sole. That's the effect of rubber has on your energetic field.
Exactly.
Okay, so
Nickie, do you want to
rubber shoes gotta go.
Yeah, Neil, Nickie, do you want to actually repeat that because your signal was interfered with?
Well, Andrew had mentioned about, the rubber, the creation of rubber.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it has to do with interference of electricity. That's why when you wear shoes and you're doing metaphysics, you don't want to wear rubber. You want to make sure you have wood made out of plant base is fine, but not rubber. Because rubber will actually disconnect you from connecting to the earth, the ground.
How about hemp shoes, Nickie?
Plant base is fine.
Yeah.
Any organic base like that, yeah, it's fine. But not rubber. I mean, like, imagine, right? If there's a cord that has exposed copper from the electricity, you can get electrocuted if you touch it. Right? If you want to use wood, wood will not conduct electricity, nor rubber.
Indeed.
Okay? That's why.
Yeah, I think whoever's interfering with us, Nickie, really doesn't want that to be heard. And what Nickie's saying is that anything made of rubber will interfere with your electromagnetic field and disrupt your ability to do energy-type work. Because it's an insulator. It is absolutely an insulator.
Right. It's an insulator.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you look at electrical wire, it's rubber plastic.
That's right.
Rubber combination of plastic to encase the wiring that they built throughout the house, on your cell phone charger, everything. It's rubber to prevent electrical transference. Okay, so you want to pick shoes that's made out of plant base or leather, unless you're vegan.
If you look at the penis the way I've described it before as an antenna that is broadcasting and receiving, and you put an insulator around it, you have a circuit, an electrical circuit. Our body is made of water with electrical impulses in it. So is the inside of a woman. It's the same thing. You are putting a resistor on there, and that resistor prevents the true inter-exchange of the energy that is in the tip of the penis, and that is in the vagina. It is an insulator. It is a disruptor. It is a resistor. It is all of those things. If you look at it from electrical concepts, we're always trying to complete circuits on an energetic level, and that prevents the circuits from being completed in such a way that you disrupt the whole process.
Underway, so it's really quite a blockage. It's a complete block, you're saying, to energy flow where it needs to be.
Absolutely, just like Nickie was saying, don't wear rubber-soled shoes. Don't wear plastic shoes. Go barefoot. People don't want to get pregnant, and therefore they're using all different kinds of birth control for whatever reasons they have. When it comes to returning to a natural format and a natural method, there were ways long before the invention of birth control that people had natural methods. Nickie, you could have talked to us about some of the natural methods that were used in the older days?
Watch your cycle.
And Nickie's really being interfered with. Yeah.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we didn't hear anything you said.
Yeah, we lost it all.
Oh,
Nickie.
okay.
Yeah.
How about this? What I'm saying is that as a woman, you have to get your calendar out, marking each day, observing your cycle. You also have to watch what you eat, okay? What you are is what you eat. That is true. You need a little bit of body fat. If you look at the marathon trainer, those women are so thin, so tight, they have no body fat, and they don't menstruate at all, okay? So, and you want to be able to do that as a woman, to menstruate. Some women don't menstruate, but they can still have babies. Believe it or not, in some cases. This does not apply to every woman. It's all individual case by cases, okay? Another thing is your mental state of mind, emotional state of mind is extremely important. When you stress out, you'll notice your period's going to come 2 days later, okay? If you're drinking a lot of alcohol, your period might come a month later. So you got to watch out for all of that. So, yes, it means that taking care of your own body. Your body is a sacred place. As a woman, you have to take extra body care for everything. And knowing that you are the Stargate holder and the responsibility that comes with that, and then who is going to, that you want to complete the energy circuit with, is vital. Okay? It is vital to you because many times women go, have sex, and they can't complete the circuit, and then they have this craving of, oh, I got to go have sex. Got to go have sex with different guys all the time. Although some women, they want to, settle down, or they'll settle not being able to connect with the person on heart level because and then they all get confused. And then they're married, and then 5 years later, then you're asking for divorce. That's why we have a huge divorce rate in U.S. And a lot of times, the statistic will show that, because, it's military and blah, blah, blah. Well, that's because they're not connected. Military is a whole new program, okay? But as a woman, I know I'm getting off subject a little bit here, but as a woman, no matter what, you got to go within. Take care of this temple. You got to love your body. Treat it like a goddess with love and respect, and you have to demand for it, okay? And because men, they don't know how to take care of you. They don't know, even though they can hold a feminine energy, they don't have vagina. They don't have periods every month, okay? The emotional, mental impact that has on a woman, that having to live with that, is much more different, okay? So as a man, for a woman, you can teach a man about those things. Okay?
Nickie,
that is part of our responsibility.
Nickie, yesterday during the webinar, Teal actually spoke of the male cycle and how it's actually supposed to align with the female cycle. So it's not just the disruption to a woman's knowledge and practice of controlling her own cycle. It's the fact that the male cycle never aligns as it should with the female cycle because, A, we're not aware of it, and B, males have been ritually abused and had their foreskins removed to reduce that connection. So there's disruptions all over the place in this whole process because there's a male cycle involved as well.
Even husband and wife, they still use condom because they're trying to prevent having children. You see what I mean? So they're not getting a complete circuit. Mm-hmm. Okay? Anyhow, so there's going to be a problem because as long as they're using condom, there won't be a problem in terms of connection with a male. I call it PMMS. Okay? They have their own version, PMMS. And as a woman, we have our own PMS. And yes, when you are as a couple, okay, in unity of energy, you're not connecting if you're using condom, and therefore their PMS for both will not synchronize.
Mm-hmm. And of course, there's multiple other things failing, and simply because the foreskin's been removed, and we have a complete lack of knowledge about the whole process of actually mating and producing offspring. But is there anything else about birth control specifically you wanted to touch on before we move on?
Well, a lot of pills that they allow a woman to take, it means that they also excreting a lot of the estrogen. And where do you think it's going to go? Estrogen is not biodegradable as much as you say, I cut up grass and then I put in my compost. It doesn't work that way. Okay, so all that hormones actually go into the toilet, goes into our water recycling system, and then because it doesn't get degraded, it comes back into our drinking water system. Mm-hmm. So what do you think that happens? If you are a male, you are drinking tap water, all of a sudden you realize you have gynecomastia, big boobs, male big boobs. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's another factor. Another factor is guys who have big boobs because they also produce estrogen, and there's bad estrogen and there's good estrogen. The bad estrogen is the one that causes them to have the big boobs as well. So there are a couple of things that you can eat to eliminate that. The natural food you can eat is Napa cabbage and bok choy. You can juice it, cook it, however you want. Just eat a lot of those. I prefer to just juice it raw and then drink that, and that will help eliminate the bad estrogen. And this goes for the ladies as well, because as a woman, you also have the bad estrogen, and that's the one that causes cancer. So you want to get rid of that by doing the same thing when it comes to food.
Cabbage and bok choy.
Napa cabbage.
Napa cabbage.
Napa cabbage and bok choy.
Very good. Okay, we've got about 20 minutes left in the show. Andrew, are you still with us?
Yes, I am.
Andrew, would you prefer to move on with this material, or do you want to go back to taking some more calls?
Let's take some calls, because we need to make sure we pay attention to the audience. We've had a number of weeks where we weren't able to take any calls, so let's take some more calls.
Very good. Okay, well, straight into the calls. Area code 973. Could we have your name and your question, please?
Yes, my name is Randy, and I wanted to comment on the spiritual revocation exercise, and I just wanted to, if you wanted to have an anecdotal out in the field, viewpoint of what's been going on with that. I've been doing that for about a month. And the first week, it was like I felt great. I felt like liberated and just so happy. The second week, I felt lost. And I was trying to figure out why I felt lost. And then I said to myself, I probably feel lost because, the default contracts that I've been living with for so long are not, showing up in my field. And I feel like, there's a void there. And, recently, my sleeps have been extremely deep, and I wake up just so profoundly, I feel like I'm in love with the universe right now. It's just been very profound, the effect it's had on me to revoke those contracts.
That was after that you went through a second week where you had a period of sort of a down period, if you like. And
I think so.
It's what
like
since
stressful,
then,
a little bit nervousness. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Since then, you've actually been feeling obviously uplifted.
Oh, extremely. Like I've been doing meditation for many years. I'm 50 years old. I've been doing meditation, for about 30 years or so, and I'm very familiar with seeing the light that comes up in your head and hearing the sound. Some people would call that like a celestial music kind of thing, and I hear that when I'm waking up in the morning, and that stays with me, for hours in the morning. And that never used to stay with me. It used to be a fleeting thing that I would only experience in meditation. I'm experiencing that now in my real life, and it's just been profound. And by the way, I often speak with, like if I have a question, I often ask Andrew. I pretend that I'm asking, Andrew's in my field, and I'm asking him a question, and I feel like I'm getting a response, and the response actually makes sense, which is kind of strange, also. So, I'm just very grateful that you guys are offering, Chris, Nickie, and Andrew, that you're offering the next step in this evolution that we're going through. It's been very, very, it's like a healing balm, if you will. It's like a bridge, and it's been very profound and very useful. And I'm just so grateful to you guys. I want to let you know that.
Well, thank
you very much.
Yeah. Andrew, did you want to comment on?
Yes.
Sorry, I know what you want to comment on. Okay, jump in.
When it comes to the contract revocations, you are experiencing what many, many others are. The celestial music is you have eliminated the system from your dreamtime presence. That's why you're hearing your celestial music in daytime now. Now, after some time, I have told people that once you pull away from the system, there'll be a void time where you don't feel right. There are those that in the migratory patterns they will not want to reinvest into something else until there's an event status. And there'll be others that want to reinvest direct into Earth because that's their natural heart foundation, is to give Earth not their power, but the union of communion, of procreation, I am self-present, saying that I am a part of this in unity consciousness, but remain in my sovereign free will so the system can no longer invest me. So there are those that will want to make contracts that reinvest themselves back into the dream world of Earth in the North Pole and the South Pole, separate of anything that's domination and control, strictly to the heart and mind of Earth Mother.
Lovely.
And did you actually want to comment on Randy literally asking you questions and feeling like he's getting information?
I get that all the time. At any point in time, there can be a few 100,000 people trying to telepathically communicate to me. Function in the dream world 24/7, 365, and function here 24/7, 365. I go to sleep here, I wake up somewhere else. I go to sleep over there, I wake up back over here. I'm a multidimensional being like many other multidimensional source streams. So when people are communicating to me in real time or dream time, you are talking to me through the dream time lens of perception. There are times that I have dreams with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people in them, and I'm individually tutoring each person at the exact same moment. So yes, I do hear your message, and many of you are very close to me. And in yesterday's teleconference with Teal, you asked the same question to Teal, Chris. Do you remember her response?
Actually, and I don't. I'll have to go back to it.
She said exactly the same thing. And each and every one of them was like a personal friend because they're in such telepathic communication through the dreamtime lens of perception that there is no duality ever in their words, and every question is answered, and every answer leads to new questions until there's a perfect symbiotic dream relationship of expansion.
So, Andrew, Randy would be asking the question to you in his mind, and he would be communicating with the dreamtime you that's always in operation.
Correct.
Very good.
Yeah, I feel like it's a real-time communication, actually.
It is, because it is.
I like to offer a suggestion.
Go ahead.
I like to offer a suggestion for our caller.
Yes.
When you're in that void time, what do you do?
Well, I'm a professional, so usually I'm either working, or if I'm not working at that point, I'll take walks in the park and I'll do stuff like that. Maybe work out. I juice also. I'm very, for the last year or so, I've been very, focused on learning how to be in love and loving my body, loving my heart, becoming love, all that kind of stuff. So basically, spending a lot of time in nature,
Good. And when we have void time, it's like saying this, okay? When we have our old Microsoft 7 okay, Windows 7 that we're trying to get rid of because the old system doesn't work anymore, and you're trying to install the new Microsoft 8 version coming in, right, for all the new computer systems, okay? When you're getting rid of that old software program, guess what's left on that computer? There's nothing. So it's that void. It's almost like you're lost. You don't know what to do, right? So in the meantime,
yes.
when in that void, before you installing the new software program, the process of installing that is by, yes, tuning into your body, telling yourself, chanting love, looking yourself in the mirror, telling yourself, I love you, I love you. You know, treat body with love and respect, honor, and continue with meditation, eating the right food. You're doing great. Just continue doing with that, and this is nothing probably more than just confirmation for you, okay? Because there'll be a lot of people will be have this self-doubt, and this is your vulnerable state, okay? This is where the dark force will want to come in and start playing with your mind. They will attack you. They will do this and that because they don't want to. They don't want you to install the new software. They want
Correct.
to keep you. You see? So
yes.
Now knowing this consciously, you're aware, and when something dark coming in, you're like, oh, nope, the virus, get out. You know, you're the new virus, bug, get out of my field, and focus on doing what you need to do for your highest vibration. Listen to Mozart. Listen to any of the Baroque pieces. Okay? Even Vadim Starov, the head special force of the Russian trainer, said Baroque music. Okay? Continue doing that, and you're going to be fine. And of course, protection, protection, protection. Always set protection around yourself.
But not the latex kind.
Until you no.
No, exactly.
And thank you for that sense of humor. And sense of humor is by far vital. Vital.
Mm.
Okay?
I feel like you guys are part of the soul family. Yeah. Mm.
Well, you are.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful.
You're doing good.
Very grateful. Thank you so much.
And know that you're on the right track. It comes with confidence. Confidence, self-confidence, and self-empowerment is vital.
That's another thing I wanted to bring up.
Continue on higher spiritual path.
Yeah, that's another thing I wanted to bring up is I've never felt this confident before as well. I just feel so just self-assured, and it's a wonderful feeling.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Great feedback. Thank you for that. We'll keep moving so we can take some more calls, but really great to hear from you.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay, we'll move on to area code 808. Hi, could we have your name and question, please?
Aloha. My name is Julie, and my question regards to dream time, and have a couple of questions because I live in Honolulu, and I was wondering if there is a sacred geometry that surrounds Honolulu, as it does maybe as powerful as the other cities.
Andrew?
The answer to your Honolulu question is yes. But a question for you: Do you know where any Masonic lodges are in your area?
No.
You should look in your phone book. Go to wherever you find a Masonic lodge, and there is one of the starting sacred geometry. Whether the Masonic lodges were involved in any of the creation of sacred geometry or not, the placement of the building links it to a grid. All of the Masonic lodges are a part of a separate grid that's meant to overlay a series of grids. Now the island, I'm in Kauai right now along with Nickie, and there are very little sacred situations here in Kauai because the energy of the lands wouldn't allow it. Now, Honolulu was a little different. They came as a military force and conquered the local area. But the ancestral spirits here were so powerful that when they went to go set up some of the Dreamtime grids, they literally hijacked the Dreamtime grids and then were taking over the local workers. So you have continuous spiritual and ancestral battle between the island spirits and the system of domination and control. And why Hawaii is so important is because of the ley line that it's on, the volcano that's here, and that the spirit work that's done here is amplified many-fold and also dampened many-fold. So there are windows of opportunity where light workers or dark workers can do work 1,000 times more powerful than they could ever expect, because the land is manifesting specific outcomes that affect the whole. One of the reasons we are in Hawaii right now is so that we can make a series of communications in conjunction with the lands on the ley lines here. So not only is our voice in intonation cadence in communion with the land here, but it's being spread out to the ley lines and beyond into all those non-physical entities that are listening. With my conversation with Teal yesterday, being on the island was one of the greatest benefits when they began attacking the system, and I was able to use our island to directly manifest and talk to those non-physical entities in such a way that it reached beyond time and space, beyond dimensions, beyond the universe, to communicate to those people that the land is speaking. And it's not my voice that was speaking, and it was the land's on a separate subcarrier voice that was speaking to them, and that was the Earth Sentience Master Carrier Wave being in communion with the message that both Teal and I were saying. So yes, you have sacred geometry in Honolulu. There is sacred geometry in Maui. There's not any on Molokai. There's not any on Lanai, and not any on Kauai. If you wish, start looking for your local Masonic lodges, and you can trace it from there.
Okay. And so the dreams then that I'm dreaming, because I feel like my dreams is becoming more powerful and more vivid, more lucid. And I remember even doing a clearing this past week in my dream. Hello? Yes?
I got a question.
Yes, so I'm wondering then, this sacred geometry, it is still affecting, like what I'm dreaming, as vivid as they are, as important as they feel, it's still basically being hijacked.
I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I've already tuned into you and to your dream world. How old are you?
I am 35.
Okay. Do you have any kids?
No. I just had a miscarriage.
Okay. And I asked that for a reason. Your miscarriage was very, very specific. It was at a time where very, very powerful spirits were trying to come into this world. The system was in denial of allowing those powerful spirits. In fact, it was meant to be another source stream that would be similar to me, Nickie, or Teal, or any of the others. And what was done is there was a volunteer of women long before you were born that said that they would hold faith for the possibility of another source stream coming in. So in your particular situation, there's a network of about 350 women that are worldwide that offered themselves to be pregnant with the chance of having a miscarriage so that the system cannot identify where the actual source stream fetus baby actually is at the last second before birth. And one of the reasons you had a miscarriage is the system identified you as a potential and miscarried the baby so that you wouldn't be in that pool of 300. And your question about the Dreamtime cities, you're not really affected by the Dreamtime cities as much as you're being affected by ancestral karma right now. And that's one of Nickie's primary abilities to talk about ancestral karma, and would be very wise for you to get a hold of her off air and have a session with her so she can better explain. But we only have a minute or two left in the show.
Yeah, Andrew, we can go
with her next week.
Yeah. Andrew, we can go over time a few minutes.
Okay, Nickie, do you wish to talk about that then?
Yes, sorry, I was on mute. You know, when I came here, I've already been visited by the ancestor of this land. And of course, they file their complaints whining about this and that. Some wanted to ascend, and so we are still going through counseling period at this moment because I had this discussion with Andrew, and I have to discuss it with Mother Earth, the land, this specific land itself, besides talking to the beings, the ancestors that came and lived here on this land. We had to define the ownership state of right and also, or the stewardship right, as Lara pointed out. So, this is still under discussion of what I need to do here, but I do feel like some of the spirits here do need to be released, because it's all, I leave it up to, the choices. Whoever wants to go can go. I'm just offering opportunities for ancestors who feel like they've done their job, they earned their stripe, they completed their project, and they need to go, so they can go. The ones that haven't finished their job yet, so they have to remain on the island. And the answer is very important, that each human being here on Earth have the opportunity to help, one, relieve your challenges, and also help your ancestor move forward into the next ascension process. Otherwise, they'll hold you back.
Very good. Well, thanks for that, Julie. Again, another interesting question.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to area code 541. Could we have your name and your question, please?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. This is Maria Gill. And hold on, I got to take you off of my speakerphone. All right. I hope I can make this kind of quick. Language and sound has always been extremely important to me, especially words, the meaning of words. And when I was much younger, I could use my voice at work in different places to kind of settle people down, to soothe them, And I feel now that I have fallen off the truck, so to speak, and I'm feeling a little bit at a loss. I don't quite know how to get back on the right track. And I was wondering if it's appropriate, could Andrew do a mini reading for me?
We're not doing readings on this show. I will be having a teleseminar where people will be able to call in for readings, strictly for about the system and questions about that. If you check on sovereignmedia.net and you sign up over there, you'll get an instruction when the next set of teleseminars for the reading shows are going to be.
Oh, it will tell me that when the reading show will be. Okay.
We haven't set a date for it just yet, but if you check on sovereignmedia.net, you'll get an email update when all the seminars, the reading shows will be.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, Marie, you have to. There's a little registration form right at the top of the page where you'll get email notifications. That's what Andrew's pointing to. Okay,
I've got the site. Yeah, I'm seeing it. By the way, I wanted to mention the chat room finally did show up after the break, but you can't write anything in it. You can't interact.
Yeah,
so I just thought I would.
Thanks for that feedback. Yeah, that's what I was finding, and I'm not. Something I've run across this. It's probably just a temporary glitch, but hopefully they'll fix it. But thanks for verifying that, Marie. I'll pop you back on hold. Oh, sorry, I think I.
For a secondary backup, if you're on Facebook, if you type in the Facebook search Galactic History discussion group, there's a Facebook group there that is being managed by one of the listeners here, Cindy Stairs, and she's doing an amazing job. So you can check out the Facebook discussion page too.
Yeah, very good. Okay, well, Andrew, we've just got two more callers, and we'll just work through them very quickly, just so we know we've actually got through everybody. Okay, so area code 612. Could we have your name and your question, please?
Hello.
Oh.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, you know me, Chris. I'm Elizabeth, and Andrew and Nickie. I love you. Mwah.
I got to give you kisses first. So.
Hi, Elizabeth.
You guys just.
Thank you.
You guys just go deeper. Hi, honey. You guys just go deeper and deeper. I'm just soaking it all in like a sponge. But I do have one question. I have a comment. And I thank Randy, first of all, for his question. That was awesome. So I'm going to be talking to you guys a lot more. Andrew, the last 2 calls, I have noticed something welling up in you, which is a passion, a holy righteousness, boldness of like, come on, people, let's just do this. Let's stand up and get it done. Claim our sovereignty, and I'm completely with you. I just a little thing. I have Iraqi dinar, right? Invested in that 3-4 years ago. So my path, how am I going to invest it? What am I going to do? Get a trust, blah, blah, blah. I went through that, and then I went into the void, like you guys described, saying the revocation of declarations, of the void of what am I going to do with my money, the fake stuff, which are energy now, I know. And just in the last 3 weeks and I remember the first Walking in Energy show you said about, stand up to the media, don't forget the government. And the media, I thought, just media, television stations, stand out in the front. But now you and Teal are talking about her paintings on billboards. And now I'll tell you what, something's going to happen. I hope the RV happens. I don't know, because you know what I'm going to use that for? I'm going to use that to expose everything. And I got tons of standing up media ideas now. And we're going to get this done, Andrew and Nickie and everybody. I'd rather do it with us, we the people, and not have anybody else intervene after 2014. What do you think?
Fantastic.
I encourage people out there to go and listen to some of the videos that both Nickie and I have done. Hold on a second. Golf cart's right here. So go to some of the videos that we've done, or just some of the audios we've done, and cut out a 7 or 20-second little statement that you like, and put it up on YouTube. So there's a 1-minute video that people can start sampling. I encourage the people that are listeners, go to listen to some of them, download some of them, and say, all right, this 2-minute section or this 3-minute section, explain something to me. They don't need to listen to the 2-hour shows. Some people only need those 1-minute, 2-minute, or 4-minute sections. Start clicking and pasting and uploading them to YouTube and to Facebook, and begin sharing these things. And these are the ways that people can get what they need and find the material. That's the other way. Media is waiting to go viral, We do 2-hour shows for very specific reasons. We're compacting thousands of hours of research both Nickie and I have done on a spiritual level into 2 hours, and putting in an information and vibration that people can go and accept at their heart core for their own discernment. Some of those individual statements that may have affected you 6 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, look for it on the audio recordings and cut it out and upload it to YouTube.
And particularly, Elizabeth, the webinar from yesterday, you really get this. So you'll have blessed with that webinar, and there would probably be literally about 15 clips you could take out of that, things that both Tim said and that Andrew said that were so definitive. They actually left me without an ability to really comment, because I had nothing to say. They were completely standalone comments, and they were quite amazing. And I really am appreciative of how you understand that we have to step up, that we have to actually, it's us on the ground doing this. That's the event.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
that's
even
event.
what about
us
a mass?
In action.
Yeah. What about a mass mailing through the post office of, you can be creative. I thought of Teal's artwork in exposing something. Yeah. But the thing is, the economy.
I talked about that on the other webinar too, about vibrational art on a mass mailing to all the government office systems. That can help. That can work too. There are multiple situations where it can be done. It requires a ground team organization. Both Nickie, I, Teal, and all the other source streams, we're here to be teachers. Teachers teach. Now, once you've learned the lesson, you have to apply the teachings to your own self. You know, we're all individuals here, and it's the individuals that come together at work as collectives, and the collectives are what change, even if it's a subconscious collection of everybody united simply by the information that it is.
Yeah. One of the suggestions that came out of a conversation yesterday of what we can physically do is you know, where there's the classic sit-in. Now, if you have tens of thousands of people sitting around a building, what are they going to do? You know, and it gets down to, you know, if we all stop paying mortgages and credit cards, what are they going to do? I had this vision in my own town of 4 million people putting their plastic driver's licenses in a massive heap on the steps of the Parliament building. What are they going to do? You know, if we act in large numbers, they are completely helpless because at that point we've assumed our power.
Yeah. So my point in you know, like just for example, the Iraqi dinar, I don't know if it's going to revalue or if it is or we're going to go straight to moneyless. But the thing is, the economy right now, nobody has any money or energy. But if it revalues, guess what? Because we have to have that money or the energy to do this mass stuff.
I hate to burst your bubble, but the Iraqi dinar is nothing but a lie. Absolute fabrication and lies. So anyone that's regurgitating that, the money system is a lie.
Yeah, so then I understand that. But so then my question is, okay, we have all these creative ideas how to stand up, just say towards with media, through media. How are we going to do that in mass if we don't have any money or our energy back? You know?
The world has been changed for countless generations by pitchforks and torches. I'm not promoting violence, but I'm saying the world has been changed by pitchforks and torches before there was money. So there are many, 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 many ways to change the world without money. Okay? When we take the money out of the variable of the equation, we have to use our free will, and we have to use our creativity. Okay? Free will and creativity is what creates the change. And I'm going to take a second to talk about the Iraqi dinar, because this has been going since the 1980s, all right? Yeah. They have been stringing you along with this. And I know Chris is involved in the exchange of the value. Those are systems that get put in place after we stand up. After, not before. The talk about it needs to be done. But when it's talked about it to the point that it's mental masturbation, it is domination and control. And that is exactly what the Iraqi dinar revaluation, regurgitation is about, keeping you in mental masturbation mode so that, oh, it's going to come. Well, it doesn't come until you stand up. And if you don't stand up, it'll never come.
That's it.
That's the trick of the monetary exchange for value system.
Yeah. If you it's like the situation with the light workers and the channeling. Where, you know, don't worry, we're coming to save you. You don't have to do anything. That's a trick. And the Iraqi dinar is the same, and discussions of future systems are fine. We have to have those discussions, but the action we have to take is way beyond that. It's the personal action to actually disconnect us from the system. Here's an alternative, what you can do. Let's not just sit in on government buildings. Let's go and sit in front of and inside of the media buildings. Do you think that would get their attention? If their audience was sitting in their laps.
That's what I've been saying for months. Ignore the government. Ignore the IRS office. Sit in front of the media building saying, we demand the truth, you liars.
Yeah.
Put up a sign that has a pitchfork on one and another sign that has a torch on the other. Use your creativity to explain to those mass media liars that we see your game. We see your lies. And then the people within the media who already know it's bought and sold will begin to leave and join your picket lines and form independent media companies that don't use money. These are people just telling the truth, using a keyboard to write their heart space. And when they write their heart space, they already know what's in the inside, and they can do more damage than 1,000 people in front of CBS or 1 million people in front of CBS, because they can whistleblow and there's nobody to stop them because they've already quit their job.
Yeah, and there's something else I need to put in here. Some time back, Andrew actually pointed out the newspaper media were probably more susceptible to outside pressure because they actually are in a financially difficult situation because the newspaper media itself is being overtaken by digital media. Now, on the Repurposing show on Monday, Rena Iliades read out an ad, a full-page ad from the biggest newspaper in this country. And the ad was essentially saying, we will tell the truth. It was like a great big smack in the face to me, and it points specifically to the fact that inside these organisations, they know that they're being controlled. And I just wanted to read you one of the paragraphs because I have this image. I got a digital image of this page in front of me at the moment, and it actually says this in the third column. It says, this is a statement by the largest newspaper company in this country, saying that our journalists have integrity and pursue and tell the truth. Now, we know that up to this point that's been bullshit, okay? But this is what they said in the last paragraph. Our journalists pursue the truth without fear or favour. They don't bow to the rich or the powerful. Whether dissecting education, economics or big national schemes like NBN, they remain unrestricted by money, corporate direction or bias. We know you have many choices when it comes to your news. All we suggest that when choosing, do as we do, seek out the truth. That what they're really trying to say to me is, we're waiting for you to come to us. Right? So that's in fact one of the discussions that we're having in and amongst the people that I work with at the moment. They've given us a great big lever to pull. One of our members, not a member, just another one of us, had a conversation with a newspaper person about a month ago in another newspaper in this same chain, and she's been investigating bank fraud. And she started putting to this guy, who was one of their more senior reporters, the sort of evidence that she had, up to the point where she started explaining exactly what she wanted to do. He was quite helpful, and wanted to listen to her. When she started putting the evidence to him, he couldn't run away fast enough. He spent about 5 minutes trying to get her off the phone because he did not want the conversation to go on, because the banks are huge customers of that particular company. Now, in that month, what's happened? I don't know. They put out a full-page ad saying they're going to pursue the truth. Okay, so we're going to put it to them. Here's some truth. Pursue it. That's just one lever we can pull, and the other is quite rightly just presenting ourselves in silence to these guys with what Andrew suggested was photographs of pitchforks and brands on sticks that we can wave at them, which is a great suggestion. But the other is just our physical presence, give us truth. And that's what we have to do. That's part of what we need to do.
What was the name of that newspaper?
I got one more thing.
What was the name of that newspaper?
It was The Age, it's The Age newspaper.
Thank you.
Okay, in conjunction with the Sydney Morning Herald. It's two of the biggest newspapers in this country, and they are running around trying to sell subscriptions for $1 a day. Okay, they're in financial trouble, and the people inside.
I have a newspaper down the street from me, newspaper building. I'll go. One idea is some people could pick one of their local newspaper buildings and find the names of those people and start sending them little snips of the Walking in Energy, or some snips so they can wake up, and then go talk to them, and maybe they'll change their paper just like you described. There's another idea.
I think, any communication you have with them that calls them out of the programming that they're in is a positive thing, and it doesn't have to be. Walking with Energy, for instance. Who knows whether that would work with any random individual, because most people who listen to that are already at least part of the way into the process of being in the new information stream, if you like. To throw someone into Walking with Energy material might have a negative effect, but you can put it to them. There are statements made by the Federal Reserve and many other banks inside the Federal Reserve that blatantly say, we monetize your signatures and deposit them as cash. Right? Put that to them. That's got to be something they've got to look at. What that points to is that the bank system in its entirety is a fraud. completely, right there.
I'd like to add something else. I know I was a little harsh with the Iraqi dinar, and simply because it's been one of those things that's been regurgitated. As Chris said, you need to have the conversations. But I'm going to take this one step further. The conversations, everything's been said already of how to change this world. It's now time to stand up. Chris's work with the collective imagination and Heather, wonderful work. They have the framework for a new system. Well, they don't have the people standing up in force. They don't have the enforcement tool, the enforcement arm to make it work. You know, I'll be blatantly honest here. Heather is not the first one that's foreclosed on the government. There's been 30 separate times it's been foreclosed on. They're just the first ones that did it in the internet age. Okay? Why isn't anything gone for it? Because there is no enforcement tool, no enforcement arm. The people are it. The people.
Exactly.
Now, when I said it's mental masturbation to work with the Iraqi dinar, it is. Any of these other new systems that are coming out, it's mental masturbation unless you're willing to stand up. Heather's already got it. Chris has already got it. The lawmen of the land, Dean Clifford, they already have it in writing, in books, how to transition the system so it's honored for everyone. It's already there. Now it's time for us to stand up.
Yep. You're quite right. The work's already been done. Heather's been saying this all along, that we are the enforcement. And, you know, she puts it in terms of being and doing. Well, it's time to do. Yeah. We know what the job is now. We know how to talk to the bankers. We know how to talk to the media. And we've actually, you know, just this past couple of months, we've actually reached a point where everybody knows what their job is. We just need to actually put one foot in front of another and walk through those doors.
So that's what I've been doing for the last 3 weeks.
I've got one more suggestion here. Every major bank has a set of regents and shareholders that are listed on the SEC filings. If 100 people started listing every name of every banker on every regent and finding their P.O. box or address and began mailing them the same stuff from the IUV or the stuff from the collective imagination, beyond the courtesy letters, the contract revocations that I've come up with, anything else that you can find that fills their mailboxes up every day, saying, we see you, we know you, there are no more secrets, we are coming for you for truth. Okay? You're not threatening them, you're demanding the truth from their lies. And these aren't the upper controllers. These are the people that earn money off the backs of everyone else. Okay, those are the ones that will change the bank. The CEOs will never change the bank. And that's my difference between Heather. The government will never change itself. It cannot, because it is completely intertwined in all aspects with the system. You have to target the system and the system alone. Remove your energy from any document you send them and only allow the natural law of karmic resolution in there. For every document that's been sent to the mail, you are giving the system your energy. And you must begin to understand this on the most fundamental level. So anytime you want to write a letter to the system, you're not writing it to a physical person at a desk. You're literally telling the system, which is a series of artificial intelligences that are using our energy that they've been mining from us for thousands of lifetimes to maintain these artificial intelligence and spiritual technologies to keep us in domination and control.
Yeah, we have to approach the people who actually own the banks, because the CEOs, they can't make the decision. They can't make these decisions, these really high-end decisions. The owners have to make the decisions, and that's the shareholders.
That's right. Start
to infiltrate them back. We have to infiltrate them back, and that's why we use, Teal's artwork. You could use the T Noddle's artwork that I'm going to switch to the hologram as technology, in which anytime that energy, hits anywhere in the physical location or anyone's hand, it will cause an activation. And another thing is, before anyone who chose to go at that level, what you're doing, Elizabeth, to really make sure you secure yourself first. Make sure that you have protection. Make sure that you are well taken care of in terms of how you maintain your vibration. You see what I mean? Take care of your dream time. Take care of whatever the basic necessity that you need, okay, particularly with protection, then move on to the next level. Because otherwise, you know, they'll counterattack, and you have to be prepared for that. As, you know, Andrew and I and TL, we always get attacked whenever we get on air, and even when we're off air, they attack the website, our Skype, name it, okay? So you have to make sure you are well taken care of yourself, have plans, you know, plan A, plan B, what you need to do. Another aspect, since another person who talked about the sacred geometry from Hawaii, is that check the location that you're living in. Some of the buildings have been designed to use as a sacred geometry. What it does is harnesses energy, okay, of the earth to wherever it needs to go. So make sure that you are off grid of their sacred geometry. Make sure you're out of that. So I have been walking around all over San Diego, that's where I'm from, and checking out buildings, how they are using buildings, design, okay, locations to create sacred geometry. What I do is I take my nanocones and I place it there, and then I cause disruption, and then I harness that energy, convert it into higher frequency, and then shoot it off somewhere else.
Ooh,
and it's very simple.
That's a good idea.
That's really super powerful when you do that.
Well, I'm actually I'm excited. I finally have a paycheck to myself. I'm gonna order the nano cone, and I live a mile from the city of Minneapolis. So we might have to check that out.
Oh, you're gonna have
That's
fun.
a good idea, Sandy.
Minneapolis, that's gonna be fun. There's a lot of big buildings. So go and get a Google, I think it's called Google Map satellite. You could see, you know, from outside Earth, look down, you can see the geometry and the layout of the physical building. And start pointing out the physical location, and you'll see the formation of the sacred geometry, and then you're going to start looking, where are they harnessing this energy to? You see, this is how the big bad boys do. That's how they harness the energy as well, using the physical building to harness and relocate that energy to somewhere else. And you can go and disrupt it without going in front of the buildings. Okay, there are people that, you know, want to do picket fence and sit on their, you know, in front of their buildings and demand this. You can do that too, but another way you can do it discreetly is to find the building and cause disruption of energy, and that will shut down their feeding the energy to where it needs to go. And all of a sudden, it's like having like nuclear power plants shut down. They're like, what? I'm not getting enough energy to do what I need to do, and they're going to be pissed off, big time.
Yeah, we need to do both.
You should have a phone. You should have a phone call about that, so we can get specifics and be very prepared. We make sure we're you know, that we're prepared. You know, like you say, be safe. So, and that would be an awesome standing up. Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll have another brainstorming. Maybe we could have another brainstorming webinar about things that people can do now.
Yes.
And we can open up calls, have multiple guests. And you know what? I just thought of one. It's Break the Sacred Geometry Flash Mobs. It's where light workers have a flash mob and show up next to the Sacred Geometry building to diffuse the energy for that moment.
Yep.
Oh,
this is,
boy,
like
this
I
is
said,
going to be
is
fun.
like you're causing a blackout. Just think of this. You're causing a major blackout into their system, their fort. Okay? That's what you're doing.
This is going to be fun.
When you go into each of the cities.
We're getting to the fun part. We're getting to the fun part of this, you guys. Yes.
Yeah. Well, if we have a brainstorming session that gives the light workers the energetic options and gives everybody else physical options that are peaceful and effective and you know, demand truth from the system, you know, that is a brainstorming session that we really need to do.
So can I just say a few more things? I'll be really short. Regarding the Iraqi dinar, whatever happens, I know. But I'll tell you what, the Iraqi dinar gathered lots of conference groups together, all from all over the world. Everybody's talking together. So these may be standing up groups too. Who knows, right?
Yeah, I agree, Elizabeth. One of the things about every false flag thing they do, it has an effect against them. And one aspect of it is although the Iraqi dinar may probably will turn out to be a total scam, it'll have drawn an enormous number of people together who otherwise would never have met.
Yes.
Okay, and I have the same.
And that's the reason.
And it has done the exact opposite too. It has created scam groups that get people to buy it. I know people that have put in their entire savings and are flat broke now. All right, so for every person that's rescued, there's 5 people that are scammed.
Yeah.
So you must understand, it is a giant regurgitation machine, and I'm going to remain that it is mental masturbation to be dealing with Iraqi dinar evaluation. You may have your different point of view, and you are entitled to it. If you really want to change the world, get out and march. Pick up a sign. Do a flash mob. Do something other than talk about Iraqi dinar, because it is sacred geometry hijacking from the beginning. They've been talking about Iraqi dinar evaluation since the 1980s. It is no different than the Nigerian prince scam that still gets you people today.
Yep,
I
it's
totally,
just a distraction.
I totally believe you. I totally believe you, Andrew. And so anyway, this is what I've been feeling in the last 3 weeks then, Andrew. What I felt from you the last 2 calls is that righteous standing up energy. This is the energy I've been feeling in the last 3 weeks. It's time. It's action time. So I agree with you guys. Yeah.
You'll notice, Elizabeth, Andrew has 2 modes. He has the sacred neutral mode when he's actually pulling from the Akashic, and then there's the human Andrew. And what you're hearing is the human Andrew.
Right. But that human Andrew is unity consciousness also. That's right. Standing in my sovereignty, sharing my heart space for the desire for change.
Right, for all humanity.
Yeah.
Right.
I know that. I have
compassion for every being.
You were jumping.
I had the honor to be here, Chris, and a listener to share living the life of what Andrew does. And I'm telling you, he dedicated his life to do nothing but serve humanity, serving humanity.
Exactly. And, you know, if I could completely stop doing commerce, which is my objective in the next couple of months, that's what I'll be doing too. And I know that
and also
would do the same.
If I would. And I wanted to finish my part off, and that is, you know, being here is not just watching Andrew work, but having the crew, the team, the Soul family, being with Larry, Katie, and Helene. It's so amazing watching how helping each other, you know, heal, laugh, and love, and contribute to how can we help humanity. You know, it's just been such an honor to be with these soul family, and I really like to extend that to other listeners out there. You know, make a niche for yourself, find your soul family, get connected. You know, love each other, respect each other, and help each other. And then in unity, consciousness is so vital for our existence that we can come together and be an extended web, okay? Because all of us are making history at this moment in time. All of you.
Thank you, Nickie. That was beautifully put.
Yeah.
Really
I'm honored to know. I'm honored to not by accident stumble onto Chris and Nickie and Andrew and Teal and everybody that's on the phone line and all the conference calls. And I love you guys. And can I ask one oddball question? Can I ask one oddball question?
Sure.
Is there a ship
Go ahead.
in front of the sun? The circumference of the sun?
No.
Okay.
The vast majority of ships have been
Are you asking that? Are you asking that in this moment in time, or are you talking about last week, last month?
Right. Yeah. Right now, and hasn't been there for a while, waiting for something. a Styrian ship,
the
I
vast
guess.
majority of ships that are in the surrounding and putting the embargo on this world have been recalled. The only things that's left are the reality programming ships that are altering the leyline grids, so we can see the actual reality patterns of the stars or the fake broadcasts of the stars that are up now. If one starts taking time to pay attention to the stars, they are changing every night. There's about a network of about 300 specialized light-enhanced vessels that are redesigning the actual position of the sacred geometry setup of the astrological charts that have been influencing us for thousands and millions of years. And we're going to be seeing the real patterns of the stars emerge. So for those people that believe Nibiru is there, it's gone. It's alive. For those people on Planet X, it's gone. It's alive. It's time that people start to realize our belief creates manifestations, and our manifestations can create our own self-destructions. It's time that we as a people stand up into our system of beliefs and understand that the belief system is what is limited. It is not one God that can save all. It is all individuals who will save all. It is now time to return to your original strictness of beliefs and understand that the strictness is your limitation, the strictness is your fear, the fear is the unknown. And one chooses to stand within the power of their free will and sovereignty and to not accept the menu of services being offered by the system of domination and control, we may once again find our true pathway to our souls.
Wow. That's beautiful.
Yeah. That's certainly a clip that needs to go up on YouTube. If anybody's listening who's inclined to help us out with that, because one of the issues with all of this stuff, folks, is all of these ideas take time and effort, and if people jump in and take some of the load, like take what Andrew just said and put it on YouTube, then that will be a great contribution, really great contribution. But look, Elizabeth, thank you. Your calls generated a really great ending for the show. Actually, it's been really useful and really enjoyable and absolutely needed, which is probably why I was prompted to keep going. So, thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you, guys.
We'll talk to you again.
Yes, soon.
Okay.
Take it easy. Love you.
Yeah. Andrew and Nickie, thank you for your extra time. It's been great. Really worthwhile. Hope we haven't got you guys too tired.
No, it was a great show, Chris.
It really motivated. I think
Yeah.
it really motivated me, and I'm sure I can speak for Andrew as well, that, we are rounding up people, and, we are standing up for our own sovereignty.
Yeah, that's the way it's done.
And it is such an honor to be able to allow, that all of you allow us this space for us to be able to do this.
It is. It's a privilege.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll end the show here for today. Thank you, everybody that's listening. Everybody's listening on the podcast in the future. And thank you, Andrew, so much for your work, and Nickie, so much for your work. It's a privilege working with you guys. And we'll sign off for the moment. Do you want to say anything, Andrew, at this point?
Lookout Mountain signing off.
And if you want to know what that means, you have to listen to the webinar from yesterday. So, Nickie, do you want to put out a website or say goodbye?
Yes, my normal website is www.tnano.net for those of you who are interested in clearing their ancestral karma or lotus session. The booking the appointment may have some trouble because, like I say, it's been hacked the way they tampered with. Anyhow, it's hard for me to control that. And also, in terms of ancestral karmic healing, you do your booking, but it doesn't mean you have a session with me. Okay, all you have to do is download the form, follow the steps, and download the form, fill it out, and send it back to me via email. For those of you who don't want anything online, I have opened up a P.O. Box office for you to mail it in. It is through the snail mail, so it's a slow process, particularly for international people. So anticipate that to happen, and that, you can't have me do the work right away when the mail doesn't come in. And also, I will not give specific date and time when I perform the ceremony. I will give an average date because there's too much attack when I perform this. So I want to give an average week that will be performed. As soon as I finish, I will send you an email confirmation. So that will help set things up much faster. Right?
Very good. And just for myself, the next show is the repurposing show, which will be, it's Sunday for you guys in the United States, and Monday morning for me, followed by the Galactic History show, followed by the new show that I'm doing called The Long Conversation, which we started this week, which was fun, and we'll be doing that every week from now on. It's literally just a show where we have conversations about things that need to be discussed. And then the Galactic History show following that, the same show, the same day and time as this that we've just done.